What is going on, dude? I was just talking about pretentious chefs, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to talk a little bit about that. I want to start by saying that everybody can be pretentious and do pretentious things. I've been a victim of it, and it's also something that has come up even with celebrity chefs. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. The three ways that I've been able to define pretentious is three categories: overcomplication, exclusivity, and elitism. Celebrity chefs are extremely apt to do this. They are more likely than like a normal cook to do this. And we've all seen those people that they get their tweezers out and they're organizing their dish and they think they're fancy and whatever. Now, I will say there is a place for tweezers. When you are doing high-end dishes and it requires a lot of very careful placement of items, very careful plating, you're going to need them. They are an important tool. But where you start getting into pretentiousness is when it, you know, back in the day in the 90s, when there was those kids that would walk around with skateboards, but they're not actually good at skating. They just wanted to look cool, so they'd buy an expensive skateboard, walk around with it. We called them posers. Okay, I wasn't a poser. I rollerbladed. I was a wuss. I didn't know how to skateboard. But I'm not going to walk around with a skateboard and act like I know how to skateboard. I'm going to go rollerblade. I got made fun of for rollerblading, but you know what? I loved rollerblading, and I'm never going to not enjoy it. I was actually kind of pissed off because when I was still into rollerblading in my teenage years, I kept hearing about a skate park coming in, and it took them over a decade to put the skate park in. All of a sudden, I was like the old guy at the skate park, and I felt really weird, and I didn't like being there. It kind of pissed me off that it took it that long. But then somebody vandalized it and whatever. We're not here for that. We're here for pretentious cooks, right? Let's talk about overcomplication. Gordon Ramsay did this, and this actually got covered not too long ago by another creator, and they talked about his grilled cheese. Now, I want to make sure that I'm being very specific about something. I'm not talking about Gordon Ramsay being a pretentious person. Gordon Ramsay is more accomplished than I will ever be in my lifetime, and he is an OG, and he is amazing. I look up to him. He's one of the few people that are celebrities that I actually want to meet. Okay, this is coming from a place that that shows that like anybody is capable of doing something that is pretentious. This case, it's the grilled cheese. So I'm going to play like a short clip of this really quick, and then when we come back, I'm going to explain, you know, what my problems are with this.
A Romano with pepperberry and Asiago. And the secret behind this grilled cheese is a little bit of kimchi. A nice spicy texture. Now, turn that over. Oh my goodness me.
My problems with this, if you watch the grilled cheese video, he did a lot of things. First off, he way overcomplicated the grilled cheese. He used a bunch of weird stuff in the grilled cheese. Then he cooked it over like a fire because he wanted it to be like this. I don't know if it was like a producer decision. I don't know why he did that. Cooked it over a fire. Pan was too hot. Up the grilled cheese wasn't melted, overcomplicated ingredients, and it was supposed to be this like upscale high-end grilled cheese. He fucked it up. Just straight up, he's a human being. He fucked it up. I think we can agree on that. What people need to understand is that sometimes when it comes to things like comfort food, fried chicken, grilled cheese, you know, pepperoni pizza, like things like chili. Chili is something like a warm bowl of chili on like a cold February, like, you know, late afternoon after you come in from shoveling snow, like that just, there's something that invokes like a feeling that you get from eating the chili, from eating the grilled cheese with tomato soup, like when you were a kid and either you were sick or it was grilled cheese night. Your mom didn't feel like cooking something elaborate, or dad or whoever. They didn't want to cook anything elaborate, so it was grilled cheese and tomato soup, and you absolutely love it. They love making it because it's easy, it's simple. Campbell's soup, a little bit of milk in there, grilled cheese sandwich, bam, done. Great. everybody's happy, fantastic, and then you have memories for the rest of your life of, you know, that awesome grilled cheese that your mom used to make, and you don't know how she did it because it just tasted better for some reason. It's comfort food. It's comfort food. It's great. It's amazing. It makes you feel good. There are memories tied to this food that you had. So when we think of comfort food, when we think of like what it means to have a grilled cheese, when you say, I want a grilled cheese sandwich, you're not just saying, I want cheesy, bready stuff. You know, like you're actually tying, you have memories now tied to a cheese toasty, as they would say over in England, or a grilled cheese sandwich. And that really needs to stop because that's going to start affecting my stuff. So the problem is that he's taking this like warm, amazing comfort food and bastardizing it and turning it into like this weird Frankenstein mutant version of itself that nobody really asked for or wanted, and he messed it up. Like, it's so unfortunate because there's like some things do not need this level of complication. Even if you have a lot of money, even if you are wealthy, you may have grown up with something that was very simple, easy to make comfort food, and that's what you're looking for. You know, sometimes people are just looking for a medium steak with salt and pepper that was grilled. That's it. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You don't have to put a bunch of weird shit on it. You know, you don't have to you don't have to like put it in gold flakes and make it like extra fancy and charge people $2,500 for something that they could probably buy at the grocery store for $100. Like, this is pretentious. Salt Bae is the embodiment of pretentiousness. Now, I said Gordon Ramsay did something pretentious. Salt Bae is the embodiment of a pretentious cook. All of his shit is way overcomplicated. Showmanship, marketing, right? Gets a bunch of suckers basically grifting off of it. Has these like $2,500 steaks. And yeah, you know, it's clever for marketing, right? But it's pretentious. It's over the top. It's unnecessary. And this is what leads me into the next part. I listed 3. Exclusivity is one of them too. Using expensive ingredients when you don't need to use expensive ingredients. Taking a cheese pizza and shaving a bunch of black truffle on it and then charging people $1,000 a slice because it's like the only place where you can find like shaved truffle on a cheese pizza, you know? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, nobody cares about that. Nobody wants... Look at this pizza! Look at this fucking pizza! Editor me, make sure that you're putting a thing of the pizza. Don't just like have me like looking off into the distance asking for the pizza, please. Like, just can you do the thing?
Esperamos the cheese, cheesy. Have some foie gras, 24 karat gold. Make it pure cheese. Is one of the most expensive caviar in the world. Desperados from California. Ingredients in the world in one pizza.
Look at this pizza. I don't care if I won the lottery. I don't care if I come up with an invention that makes me Jeff Bezos rich. I wouldn't eat it for free, let alone pay the thousands of dollars that it probably costs to actually order this. Now, the other sign that I listed, because remember I said 3, the other sign that I listed is elitism. So as you're watching this video, a lot of people that have watched it that have clicked off by now because I'm actually talking about them and they're pissed off because I just called them out on it. The thing is, elitism is a symptom of being pretentious. It is not a good thing to have that like elitist mentality. Elitism is a symptom of pretentiousness, and what that is when I talk shit on Gordon Ramsay's awful grilled cheese that he made that nobody would ever want in a million years unless you're really weird or you have your brown nosing and you're like, oh my god, this is the best grilled cheese ever, Gordon Ramsay, thank you so much for making it in my hand. It was bad. Not acknowledging that sometimes things can just be simpler and that's okay can make you fall into this trap of elitism. Usually they're the ones that start throwing truffle oil all over everything. You know, truffle fries, those are kind of like a staple now. Like, you know, like you don't even have to be a nicer restaurant. You can just be a burger joint that wants to like offer another alternative. Truffle fries with a little bit of Parmesan and parsley and salt, you know, whatever. That's fine. I'm talking about like, it's in every dish. You know, it's like $115 for a case of truffle oil, and you're going to put it all over the mushrooms because apparently the mushrooms need to be more mushroomy, and you're going to put it in the onions, and you're going to put it on the fries, and you're going to put it in the burger patties, and you're going to, you know, cook with it when you saute food and all of this crap. And it's like, it's not necessary. There was a place that I worked at that was really bad about this, and they would go and spend $250 on some specialty brand prosciutto, but the people that were coming in, he wanted to put this on a burger. I understand there is a time and place for expensive ingredients. I've made charcuterie boards that were like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of like expensive cheeses and expensive meats. There is a place for that. I'm not saying using expensive ingredients makes you one of these people, but what you don't do is put it on a hamburger with pineapple because you're making a Hawaiian themed burger and use this expensive prosciutto with everything expensive. It's a fucking burger. People come in, when they come in for a burger, they might be looking for something a little more than what they would get at McDonald's, right? They want it a little bit more elevated. I've made some really, like I've made here's a couple random pictures of some stuff I've made. So these are a little more upscale, right? They're not McDonald's. You know, you could probably see these either being ran at Red Robin or like a nicer burger place or something like that. But you don't need to spend all this money on these ingredients, especially because not only is it pretentious, but you're going to start losing money on you're going to be selling them at a loss. Nobody's going to want to spend like $100 on some burger with like expensive prosciutto from the best prosciutto maker in Italy and Argentinian red shrimp and these handcrafted buns imported overseas from this other place. You know, they don't give a shit. They don't care. And it's okay that they don't care. It's not a bad thing. They just want a burger. That's what I'm talking. That's where the pretentiousness comes in. Okay? So hopefully I've drilled that in now. I've gone over the three things. The golden rule is, are you using the ingredient as a form of expression and a form of adding value to the dish in some way? This expensive prosciutto, let's go back to the expensive prosciutto. The expensive prosciutto has a very particular texture, a special saltiness, and there are things that come with that prosciutto and that flavor that you don't get from Walmart packaged prosciutto. It tastes, it's incredible. Is what you need to add to your dish contained in that prosciutto? Or can you use the Walmart prosciutto or Canadian bacon or ham? Is it necessary for the dish? Is it necessary to use hand-shaved truffles on the item? Or is it like just a spring salad that you decided to put truffles on for the fun of it? And it's like truffles and like a little bit of like toasted almonds and like a balsamic vinaigrette on like spring mix, and then you're going to charge $45 for it. You know, like ridiculous. But when you use the truffles, when you use the saffron, are you adding value to the dish? And when I say adding value, I don't mean literal money, like making it more expensive. Are you putting something in the dish that you feel confident will add value to the flavors, bring all the flavors together? They will have a role to play, a genuine role. Another example of this without using like hyper expensive ingredients, it's kind of like those people that they make something hot, and their idea of making something hot in order for it to taste good is they get a bunch of Carolina Reapers and throw it in a blender with a little bit of water, reduce it down, and turn it into just like pure heat, and then they just dunk the chicken wings in there so they could be known as having like the best wings in town. Or they could be known as having like, you know, the hottest wings in town or whatever, and they're really disgusting, but there's just so much heat in there that it's just insane, like hospital level, like go to the hospital level heat. And then at that point it becomes like a novelty. It's like a joke. You're selling a joke at that point. The heat should add something of value to the dish. when you're eating something, when you're even a chicken wing, when you're eating it, there should be enough heat in there that it's a note of heat. It causes the sense, you get that feel like, oh, that's hot. There's a little bit of heat in there. Yeah. And it adds to it, right? It shouldn't be the point to put people in the hospital. So that's another version of being pretentious. Captain Flavortown. Don't get me started on that guy. You can be pretentious and not have anything to do with the ingredients. There was this dude that peak like awesomeness of this guy, Bobby Flay. Amazing. Again, another amazing chef. Better than I will ever be in a lifetime. The king of the grill. I'm pretty sure like he made a birthday cake in a fucking grill. Like nobody can do that. That's incredible. That's incredible. And he just did it because he could. And that's not pretentious. That's just like a challenge. Can I do this? You know, challenging yourself. He became an Iron Chef. Badass cook. Kind of an asshole, I've heard. Maybe he's not. Let me know. Have you met Bobby Flay, or have you heard that he's an asshole? Let me know in the comments. He had this show called Throwdown. I actually watched a few episodes, and it was kind of intriguing. And there was this one episode I watched, and it was the episode I stopped watching. I stopped watching this show. And the reason why is because in this show, it was like a family lasagna recipe. So the whole if you're like Gen Alpha or Gen Z and you're watching this and you're not really familiar with Throwdown, I would YouTube some videos on it. But essentially the premise was he would go somewhere and he would challenge somebody that had the best recipes, the best lasagna, the best pizza, the best spaghetti, the best whatever. And he would throw down with them and try to make the recipe better than they did. And he won like 99% of the time. And yeah, you know, there's the bragging rights if you can make something better than Bobby Flay, but he's Bobby fucking Flay, and you're a home cook that has like a passed down recipe from your grandma, right? Not the same thing. But anyway, there was this like recipe, and you could tell when this person made this lasagna, he's putting the history of his family into this dish. And he's putting the love and the care and the respect from past generations into the food. And that's something that's always drawn me to food. It's why I love trying new dishes, not just for the sake of trying them, but you're tasting the history of hundreds or thousands of years of evolution of the creation of this dish, especially with like a really good lamb vindaloo from somebody that puts a lot of love and respect into the food. So having Bobby Flay go somewhere and take somebody's family handed down recipe and turn it into a competition, to me was like slapping that family in the face. Like, yeah, you can make lasagna better. You know, who fucking cares? You're an Iron Chef going up against a family with a handed down recipe. But if you were to ask me, would you rather have this family's handed down recipe where you're tasting the same things that his grandmother and great-grandmother and great-great-grandmother from Italy tasted, or Bobby Flay's knockoff? Even if it tastes better, I want to taste that, the other stuff. I want to taste authenticity. You don't get that authenticity with Bobby Flay's lasagna, or Gordon Ramsay's pretentious grilled cheese, or Flavortown Man's, you know, beer nachos that my wife was actually telling me about, that were like super bland and it was super gimmicky and didn't make any sense and it didn't have any flavor. No Flavortown there. It's more like Blandville. If you're new here, the goal of the channel is to help line cooks and chefs grow, promotions, raises, and also teach them all kinds of other skills. I've got content about marketing, for example. If you become a sous chef or an executive chef, there's going to be times where you're going to need to market your dishes, and a lot of people don't think about that. I also teach soft skills, a bunch of other stuff. I'm talking about this because I don't want you watching my videos and becoming pretentious and going over the top with it. And there's a difference between learning skills, learning to use the tweezers, learning to use truffle, when you can and can't, when you should and shouldn't. You know, I talk about Andrew Wiseman and French Cooking Academy all the time because they have all the amazing dishes, like thousands of videos between them. One of the reasons why I don't make a lot of recipes. I do make them, I just don't make a lot of them. Just don't get caught up in the habit of not adding value to what you're doing and turning into somebody like a Salt Bae that is basically like a joke and a meme at this point. You know, can you make money? Yeah. But really cooking from the heart and from the soul and putting who you are on the plate and adding that value to me is priceless. And it will get you way further than being pretentious ever will. I want to know if you've ever ran into a pretentious cook or if you're guilty of doing anything pretentious yourself. Go ahead and leave yours down in the comments. Otherwise, if you're not subscribed, I would really deeply appreciate it. It tells me that I've added value to you by giving you something that you can use in your real life.